Hey guys, what's going on? It's Colin here again. Today I'm back with a kind of special video. This is going to be something of a celebration video for hitting 100 subscribers on the channel. So recently, I think it was probably earlier this week, we surpassed 100 subscribers. I think now we're up to like closer to 115. A lot of that was thanks to the shout out on Spats Bear's channel. So Spats and Harley, if you guys are watching this, thank you so much for that. That means a lot. Also, thank you everybody who's subscribed. I really do appreciate it. I don't really do this so much for the numbers. I do it mainly for the fun of making the videos and also being able to chat with people from all over who are into the same kind of things as me. But the subscriber number is generally pretty satisfying for me, at least. But anyways, I've been thinking about for a while what I wanted to do for a 100 subscriber celebration. And honestly, I'm not great at thinking of things like this. I've kind of done a bunch of little things already, like the bloopers video for the 1 year of the channel, and you know, all the startups and stuff for spring and all that. So honestly, I wasn't entirely sure what to do. But I figured, might as well reveal a secret project I've been working on for a while. That should probably count as a celebration. This is a rather large project, and it got here 2 or 3 weeks ago. So I figured I might as well reveal it. So here we go. Some of you guys might know what that is. I went ahead and I bought myself a vehicle. And not just any vehicle, but a vintage vehicle. This is going to be my daily driver. This is a 1971 Dodge Power Wagon W200. And it's in pretty darn good shape. So, I've been looking for a very long time, because I knew this was kind of along the lines of what I wanted. For me, I pretty much need a truck with all the crap that I have. And bringing stuff everywhere, you know, trying to fit a bunch of antique engines into my mom's Highlander over there was starting to get really irritating. So I figured I needed a truck. And seeing as though I've been into antique cars since I was 3 years old, figured why not get a vintage truck. So I went on the old interwebs and did some searching, and some searching, and some more searching, and a lot of searching, and several months later I found this thing. It was posted on some random website. I don't remember what the heck it was. But anyways, I saw it and I kind of fell in love with it. And so I went back, and it turns out this was being sold by a little tiny used car dealership in Indiana. It's for those of you guys who are interested, it's Bessler's Trackside Auto in Indiana. And they're just a small town and just a small little dealership. And this was the owner of the dealership. This was his truck that he was selling. Apparently he's liquidating some of his collection. So this was up for sale, and when I saw it I kind of fell in love with it, so I did some research. Turns out this was a fire truck back in Indiana back in the day. They used it to put out brush fires. It had a big old water tank in the bed. They rather quickly learned that that wasn't going to work out, so then the parks, I guess, I don't know whether that'd be like, you know, kind of like Parks and Recreation, that kind of stuff, got it. And then after that, I think somebody bought it and it sat, because check out the mileage. This is original mileage. Hold on. 16,779 original miles. That's it. And it was about 16,711 when I got it here. I've been driving it a decent amount. But yeah, that's it. That's the original mileage on this thing. So it's been hardly used. The only new paint on this is the doors and over here, and the only reason it's there is to cover up the old fire department logos. If you look at it just right, I don't know if it's going to show up on camera. You got to get the right angle on this door. You can actually see there's, poking through the paint, there's a big like Batesville, Indiana Parks emblem on the side here. I don't know if it's going to show up. I could just barely see the lettering on the door there, but anyways, yeah, so that's it. Basically 17,000 original miles on it. So yeah, I went ahead and bought it. Had it shipped here from Indiana. I'm on Long Island for those of you guys that don't know. And I love it. So, as I mentioned, this is a Dodge Power Wagon W200. It's a 3/4 ton pickup. It's got 4-wheel drive. It's got the searchlight, which is pretty cool. And it's a 318 engine, 4-speed stick, 4 on the floor. You know, manual lockout hubs, of course, because that's what they had back then. Manual transfer case. No power steering, no power brakes, no AC, none of that. So the only modern thing in this whole truck is the radio, and calling that modern is a overstatement. So figured I'd just give you guys a little bit of a tour of the truck, because it's been quite a project and it's still not done, but at least it's at the point now where I can drive it. So anyways, I'm gonna pop the hood and we could take a closer look. I changed my mind. Let's do a little walk around first. So here's the front. This is, like I said, all original paint except for the stuff on the doors where they covered up the logos. It's not perfect by any means, but considering it's original, it's really not bad. It looks like something was like sprayed on it at some point, I'm not sure. But big old Dodge logo. New New York plates, which is kind of nice. They're a hell of a lot better than those ugly navy blue and yellow ones. But not entirely sure what type of headlights. I want to say they're steel beam, but I'm really not sure. These are actually Hummer tires that I think the parks people threw on here. And they're stupid wide, but they do look pretty good. When these tires go, I'm going to get some more original, like, stamped steel Dodge rims. But the rims are in perfect shape, so hopefully that will fetch a little bit of money. Got the little Chrysler logo down there. Somebody also put these mirrors on. Not entirely thrilled with the way they did it, so I might get redone at some point. It's got the curved windshield. Sorry about the windshield cleaner. I forgot to move that before the video. The big old antenna, which I love. Got the wing windows and crank down regular windows. 8-foot bed, so it's full size. Get a shot of the back here. Not entirely sure what these things are. Somebody, I'm guessing it was a fire department addition. Maybe they took the bed, the tailgate off, and it was for a ramp or something. I'm not entirely sure. But sorry about the landscapers. I guess they decided to go as soon as I started my video. Got a tow hitch on it. This is actually a backup camera. I'll get to that in a second. Can take the tailgate down. It sticks, but yeah. Best way to describe this truck is big and clunky. Everything's big and clunky. It's wonderful. Like even these, on modern trucks, they're just cables. This is steel. It has the remains of an old bed liner in it. Unfortunately, it's kind of falling apart and it's a little crusty. For now, what I think we're going to do is get some Flex Seal and seal up all the holes and imperfections like this, because I just don't want water getting under it and staying there. But until then, I've been keeping it covered. And you can see these are the original holes in the bed from when they had a water tank back here. And this wood, this one here is a ramp, and then that is stuff I put across the top when I put a tarp over it. But this tailgate likes to stick a little bit sometimes. Let's see. It's one of these latches is not quite right, so you really have to slam it like that. But then it latches. Here's the other side. Still got the original brackets on the roof there from when they had lights and stuff on top. There's a wire poking through too. So far that doesn't leak. The only thing that does leak is this door seal, which I've kind of tried to tape back in place because it keeps the door from shutting too sometimes. But yeah, this door seal is shot. I'm gonna get a new one. But this is your door latch, lock, crank windows, wing windows, as I mentioned. But the this door seal has actually been leaking for a long time, because if you look onto the mat here, this is the only rust in the whole truck. Is right here. You can see there's a little bit there, but the cab mount there is pretty much gone. But if you look on the other side, it's perfect. So I have a very strong suspicion that that rust damage is from water leaking in through here. Not so much from it being driven, given the miles and the fact that the other side's perfect. But I'll get to the interior in a second. It's got the windshield that's curved and wrapped around. Now check this out. Original registration from Indiana from 1971. So that sticker is definitely staying. Gonna go ahead and pop the hood here. See if I can do this one-handed. There we go. Yeah, there's your big old 318. It's really simple. This truck's a dream to work on. Everything's super simple, and the thing's so high off the ground that I can sit up under there. But yeah, that's it. It looks kind of small in this huge cavity, but that's a pretty beefy engine, 318 cubic inch. But just the fact that it only has one belt should tell you a lot. There's actually enough room that I can sit up in here, because I'm only 5'9". I'm not tall enough to really reach all the way back to like the distributor. So what I do is I climb up here and I sit right here, then I can reach everything. Oil bath air cleaner. It's a 2-barrel carburetor on there. This tube is about the extent of the emissions control. Yeah, alternator. You know, nah, just a fans on all the time. There's your oil filter down there. Needs new valve cover gaskets. I'm working on it. This truck needed a gajillion little things when I got it. Now I'm down to about 1,000 little things. So I've been chipping away. It's not quite there yet, but we're at least on the road now. Something I didn't completely comprehend when I got this thing is that this was a fire truck, which I knew, but I didn't fully realize that it's a fire truck. Everything's a little bit bigger and beefier because I have the original owner's manual, by the way. You'll see where I'm going with this in a second. I'll grab this out of the glove box. It's in here somewhere. There's a whole bunch of junk in here. There. Original Dodge owner's manual, which is cool. But anyways, I was changing all the fluids and I got to engine oil. So I drained out the engine oil, which really wasn't too bad, but you know, that's something important you want to do. And started filling it up. The manual says 4 quarts of oil, 5 if you do a new filter, and I did a new filter. And I ended up putting more like 8 in. What I kind of didn't realize at the time is that the oil pan on this thing is massive. See how deep that oil pan is? So this truck has a beefier package because it was a fire truck. So oil pan is bigger, gas tank's bigger, I suspect the radiator is bigger, and a couple other things are bigger. But yeah, so basically 2 gallons of engine oil. So this thing runs nice and cool though, I will say that much. But the previous owner put a new distributor cap, plugs and wires in. So far everything I've done to this truck. We'll just run down the line. I got it here, it didn't run right at all. So I started taking a look into it and the gas stunk. So I ended up draining about 15 gallons of gasoline out of that tank, and it looked more like iced tea than gas. And it stunk like hell. I took some pictures and stuff, I'll throw it in here as I'm talking. After that I pulled the gas tank out and I cleaned it out and, you know, emptied it further and all that. So I got all the gas out, replaced all the rubber fuel lines, blew out all the metal lines, new fuel filter. What else did I do? I changed all the fluids, so 2 gallons of engine oil and 3 gallons of gear oil. And that gear oil goes in the differentials, transfer case, and transmission. So yeah, that's why I took 3 gallons. But hopefully I won't have to do that ever again. I don't want to smell gear oil again for a long time. I rebuilt the carburetor. I'm going to be doing the brakes very soon. I put 3-point seat belts in it. Went through, cleaned up all the electrical. I'm probably missing a couple things, but yeah, so what I still need to do, I need to work on the brakes because the brakes aren't quite right. I need to replace my searchlight because it's broken. I have a new one that's brand new in the box, so I'm just going to replace it. What happened is there's a couple gears in there. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see this, but the one gear stripped out. But I know somebody who was a cop and I got a brand new one right in the box, which is nice. So it's mint in the box. Oh, and I put a backup camera in too, I forgot about that. But yeah, so like I said, needed a million little things when I started. Now I'm down to about 1,000 little things, because I still got to do the brakes. I still have to fix the bed liner. I'll probably just get it redone at some point. I'm going to undercoat it. It was undercoated at one point in the past, but before the winter, I got to undercoat it because I want to keep this thing as nice as possible. I got to fix the rust. And I have to do an adjustment on my automatic choke because it starts up like a piece of crap right now, as you'll see. And I got to do the new door seal and a couple other things that I'm probably forgetting, but we're at least on the road now. So there's your 318 engine. It's a dual master cylinder brakes, which is nice. Needs new flexible lines in the front, and I'm going to flush the whole system, and it probably needs some serious brake adjustments too, but I'm doing that tomorrow, hopefully. Needs new valve cover gaskets because these seep, and then it seeps right onto the hot exhaust pipe, and it looks like it's burning a bunch of oil, which isn't exactly what I'm going for. And it might need a new muffler at some point too. But when we take a look at the interior here, might be a bit of a mess because I got crap all over the place. Big old bench seat. It's kind of a little bit on the delicate side. This is falling off. I'll glue that back on at some point. Gas tank's right behind the seat here for added safety. Hopefully this wasn't a truck that came with the ejector seat option. So, big old steering wheel, which is good because you don't have power steering. Horn buttons right here in the center. That is a master kill switch for all the electrical. Blinker, obviously. Got down here is your e-brake. This is a little vent that's down under the cab there, which is really nice when you don't have AC. That floods the whole floor here with nice fresh air. Take a look at the dash here. We got a fuel gauge. These are a couple lights here for your left blinker, brake, high beam, right. Oil pressure, temperature, speedometer, alternator, and everything kind of goes like this, which is cool. Another thing I'm going to do is get an actual temperature and oil pressure gauge because these don't actually have numbers, and that's a little concerning. Down here, gas pedal, brake, clutch, obviously. It's a 4 on the floor as I mentioned, and there's your manual transfer case. Ignore this wire. I'm not entirely sure where I want to put the screen for my backup camera yet, so I'm leaving the slack there. Not entirely sure what this clip is for. Your newer, I guess newish radio. Although it's not new, that it's advertising a CD changer, but it works. There's your heating controls. Again, everything's going side to side. Switch for the lights, emergency flashers, wipers, glove box. It's a nice metal dash. The cinder blocks came with it. I think they're going to stay. They're too cool. Plus they got the Dodge Ram on them. Sun visors, those need a little help. Or at least this one does. See, I'm finding things I still need to do. Went ahead and added in 3-point seat belts. It's just a kit. This truck already had provisions up here for the third point. Originally it just came with lap belts, but got the retractor down there. And these are basically like lap belts with a third, with a shoulder harness. I went ahead and added in a center lap belt too, just in case. Big old heater box down there. The heater works amazingly. Heats up super quickly. Got the cigarette lighter thing. I think that was added in at one point. Somebody had it down here, which isn't great because A, my phone will live in that glove box when I'm driving, and B, then the wire is coming out right in front of your brake pedal. So I went ahead and moved it over. There was already a hole there, so I filled that hole with that, and this hole you can't even see unless you're really looking for it. As I said, no power steering or power brakes. Sorry, my camera died there somewhere. Honestly have no idea what I was talking about when it died. But I guess we'll start with the 3-point seat belts. I may have said this earlier, but this was a kit I found online. This originally only had lap belts, so I just took the original mounts and bolted them up. This one I had to make a small bracket to pop it over this way slightly. That side it just bolted right in. The truck already had provisions up here in the B column for a bolt, so that fit nicely. It's basically just like a lap belt with a shoulder harness. But yeah, I honestly have no idea what I was talking about, but This lever here is your seat adjustment, so that slides it forward and backwards. And you can adjust the tilt with these bolts, and there's two on the other side too. Go ahead and hop in again. Sorry, I'm kind of tethered now because my camera's dead. It's got a 4 on the floor for a stick, and first gear is really what you call granny low. It's ridiculously low, but it's good because this driveway is ridiculously steep. Yeah, so there's that. As you can tell, I honestly have no clue where I left off, but here's something interesting. I find this to be hilarious. It sums up this truck pretty well. See that bulb down there? It took me a while to figure out what that was. Obviously you got your high beam, low beam switch here. But I thought this was an electrical switch, and I could not find for the life of me where it went. Then, one day when I was cleaning up some of the electrical stuff, I noticed this bag. It's like a canvas bag. So I pulled it out to see what the writing was, and it said wiper fluid. So I went ahead and put some wiper fluid in there, and I could not figure out where the switch was to activate the wiper fluid. So then I decided to try clicking this switch, and well, this isn't quite a switch. What this is a little bulb, and when you press it, it shoots a charge of air into that bag and then forces wiper fluid out. So I'll hit this with my foot like that, and you can see wiper fluid shoots out, which is absolutely hilarious. It shoots through the grate there, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I think that's hilarious, and it sums up this truck so well. This is your heater box down here. This works off the heat of the engine. I know Chrysler had some weird gas-powered ones at some point, but this thing works really well. Heats up really quickly. The controls for that are right here. It's, you know, nice and slide like the rest of them. A couple vents up here and a couple vents down there. Other than that, it's got a somewhat modern radio. Somebody kind of just rigged up some old bookshelf speakers under here. I don't know if you can be able to see them. There. Oh, there you go. That's a better shot. They get loud, but that's about all I can say for them. They sound like crap. But this truck is super loud, so, or at least on the inside, because a lot of things are vibrating and stuff, so it's good that gets loud. Down there's the fuse box. But yeah, it kind of rides exactly the way you would expect it to. It's a big old 1971 3/4 ton pickup. It's not exactly a luxury ride. You kind of do a lot of bouncing, and things are vibrating, and you're yanking on the steering wheel and stomping on the brakes, but so far it's been a lot of fun. I know I'm slightly crazy. I think you guys all know that, but yeah, no, so far it's been a blast. Plus everybody loves it. You just never see these trucks anymore, especially not in this good a shape, and especially not in the Northeast. So go ahead and give you guys a shot of the underneath here as best I can. Like I said, this thing is nice because it's so high off the ground that like you can sit up under here. So back there you got well, it's leaf spring suspension all around, so you got 4 back there and 4 back there, 2 back there and 2 back up here. Big old differential that took 2.5 quarts of gear oil by itself. This is a separated transfer case, because I don't think they started marrying the transfer case to the transmission until about the mid to late 70s. But there's your transfer case. So this actually has 3 drive shafts, because there's your engine and transmission over there. And there's a little itty bitty baby one there. And then out of the transfer case, you got 2 more. And my camera's freaking out here a little bit. There we go. There's one going to the back and one going to the front. There's your big old muffler. The end of it's actually blowing out a little bit, so I might have to get a replacement. I think you guys can maybe sort of see that there, how that's not quite flat. There's also a slight rust hole in the front, which might explain some of the noise. It's got a nice sound to it, I will say that much, but it doesn't sound, I think it's a little bit louder than it should be, and the holes in the muffler would explain that. 4-wheel drum brakes, as you can probably see. This is actually your e-brake cable right here. So the back ones are both hydraulic and mechanical, which is kind of cool. But yeah, you can probably see there's a little bit of surface rust under here. Nothing too terrible, but all this crap is old undercoat, not bed liner. It's a bunch of old undercoat stuff. So hopefully that helped preserve it a little bit. It does leak a little bit of oil. I don't know where it's coming from. It seems like the bottom of the starter is kind of damp, but it dribbles a little bit. But then again, it's 49 years old, so I can't blame it. But yeah, that, and there's a little bit of play in the steering, which I'll figure both of those things out at some point, but right now it's not super important. But anyways, I think I've babbled on far too long by now, so let's go ahead and start this thing up. Unfortunately, my e-brake doesn't really work too much right now, so I kind of have to sit in here and keep my foot pretty heavily pressed on the brakes, otherwise I start rolling. The only reason it's not rolling now is because it's in gear, but that wouldn't work too well. Also, it's going to start up like a piece of crap. That's because the automatic choke needs adjustment. I promise you, before I rebuilt the carburetor and messed with that at all, it started up perfectly, but now it kind of starts up like a piece of crap. And I think my belt's a little loose too because it squeaks. But these are all things for the list. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can sit you guys down here, and hopefully the camera won't fall over. I'll go inside and start it, and then I'll bring you around back. So let's see what she does. That was really strange. I've never done anything like that before. As I said, I think it needs some automatic choke adjustment, because I really didn't have to something like that. It's kind of looks long. The most idle at about 600 RPM. It might be going a little better now, but that was kind of a bar top. It's 4.9 inches. So let's go on the 4.15. It's definitely got the torque, but it's got a nice torque to it. Well, folks, there you have it. No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, that's pretty much it for now, at least. I gotta figure out a way that I can rig the camera up inside so I can actually video me driving. Not entirely sure how I'm gonna do that. Maybe I can get a family member to video me while I'm driving or something. But I'll tell you, you feel like you're going a lot faster than you actually are, which is kind of funny, but it's also a good thing, I guess, seeing as though the way the brakes currently are. But as you heard, definitely got a nice sound to it, in my opinion. But yeah, it's quite a lot of fun, and it's been a lot of fun, and I'm sure it will continue to be a lot of fun. So anyways, guys, once again, thank you all for subscribing. It does mean a lot. I do appreciate it. And for the 85% of you guys that still aren't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Go ahead, click the button. It doesn't bite, doesn't really do much, but it makes me feel happy. So anyways, guys, I figured I would just do a little video on this not so secret anymore, but it was a top secret project. So hopefully some of you guys are car or truck guys and you guys can appreciate this. But rest assured, I'll be getting a video of it driving around soon. So anyways, thank you all for watching. If you like what you see, as always, hit the little like and subscribe buttons. By all means, leave a comment if you have one, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.